Hey guys, welcome back. This is Mr. Gonzalez here. We are on topic 16, lesson 2, and this is going to be solving equations with tables. So on this first one, this is the opener. They start you off with an equation. The equation right here is y equals 4x plus 8, and what they want you to do is make a table of values with this. So you need to determine some x values, plug in the x values here, and eventually generate some y values. Now, fortunate for you, you can have the calculator do all the work for you. I think in a previous lesson, you've already seen how to create tables using your own x values and generating those y values. So we're just going to stick this into the Desmos calculator. If you don't know where to find that, you just simply go to desmos.com or go to Google and just type in Desmos graphing calculator, and it's the first thing that pops up. So anyways, I have that ready to go. We're going to create that table of values for this equation, y equals 4x plus 8. So try to remember that or write it down right now because we're going to need it when we type it into the calculator. All right, so here's my calculator now. To get here, like I said, you just go to desmos.com and it's the calculator, the graphing calculator option. Then you'll get a page that looks like this. Once you're here, you come over here to these rows. This is row number 1. This is where we're going to type in our equation. So if I go back, it was y equals 4x plus 8. I'm going to type that in here. Y equals 4x plus 8. All right, so now that you got it in there, it shows you a graph for it. Okay, it graphed it for you, but remember, we want a table right now so that we can actually see these values. Okay, so you click on this edit list. It's the settings tool. Click on that, and then you're going to see this little icon right here that says convert to table. Okay, click on that, and it generates a list of values for you and the y values that go with it. So these are your x values on the left, these are the y values at the right, given that we have this equation typed in. So it took the equation, converted it to a table, and now it generated the table of values for you. This is your answer that you're going to put in here. So in your books on the first page, you already have number 1 done. Very simple. Like I said, just plug this into the calculator and it'll do it for you. You just have to tell it to convert to a table. Now let's look at the next question. This is where it gets kind of interesting. And it can be kind of tricky sometimes, but we have a very helpful tool in that graphing calculator. So here's the second question. Explain how you could use your table to solve the equation 4x plus 8 equals 14. Now look at the 14. That takes the place of the y value. So we want to know where the y value equals 14. There's a couple different ways to do this, but right now we're going to be using tables to do that. And then look at the hint. You may need to add more rows to your table to show how it can be used to solve the equation. That just means right now with the current number of rows, you might not be able to see the actual solution. Remember, we're looking for a 14 in the y column. So we're looking for a 14 over here in this second column, the y column. Okay? So I'm going to go back to my calculator and try to find that 14. I want you guys to sort of stop and think. Right here, you can pause the video if you need to. Where do you see the 14 in this column? Okay, you're probably thinking, I don't see a 14 there, and that's absolutely correct. But now I want you to think, where would the 14 be if we needed to place it on that table? Okay, some of you guys are thinking right between the 12 and the 16. So some people are thinking it's going to be in here. What would the x value be in that case then? If 14 is right in between these two, what do you think the x value should be? The x value should be between 1 and 2, which is what? What do you guys think? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change my x values so that they're going by 0.5s because that's in between increments of 1. So I'm going to change this to the 2. Notice how I typed the 2 in there and it gives me the 16 over here. Now we doubled up, but I'm going to change this guy, delete it, to a 1.5, and look at that. I can now see the 14. Now my table looks kind of weird right now because it's going by ones and then all of a sudden it's going by 0.5. So if you want to change the whole thing, here's how you do that. Go back to the very first one, delete it. Let's start with the 0 if we wanted to. So 0, 8. Now on the next one, let's go by 0.5s. So that's 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. So now it looks a little bit cleaner. We can actually change it so that now we can actually see the 14 built into the table. And that kind of answers the question for number 2. The question was, how would you change your number of rows or just the rows in general so that your table would show the solution? And we just did that. Part of your answer is going to talk about changing the x values to go by 0.5s instead of by 1s. Or you could have just added an extra row in between like we did at the beginning. That also works. Just kind of up to you. As long as you see that 14 right there, that's showing your solution. So if I go back to this, explain how you could use your table to solve it. Well, we just need to get our table to actually show the 14 in that Y column, and then we have our answer. But I had to do some small changes to it to actually get it to show. Now watch this. If you want to keep your table expanded, if you want it to go further, if you click enter right now, I have this box highlighted. It goes over to the next one. Now watch what's cool about it. If I click enter again, 3.5, 4, 4.5, it keeps that scale on a 0.5 increment. So that helps. Play around with the tables, try to get used to them. It's going to take a little while to get used to this calculator. I'm still trying to figure out how to use it because I was so used to the actual physical calculators, those big yellow ones. I don't know if you guys have seen them yet, but at school we have these yellow calculators, the Texas Instruments, and we used to use those, but right now we don't have those out to you guys, and we don't have enough to provide you with those. But Desmos is just as amazing, if not better. It just takes some practice to get used to. Okay, so that is the opener. Follow me to the next video. I'm going to show you guys how to do more of these graphs. They get a little bit more complicated, but we're going to keep using Desmos to help us out. I'll see you guys in the next video.